Hello. Oh, thank you, darling. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Saturday morning, or whenever you're viewing this. Hope you're well. We are well. I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I talk about how I lost 97.4 pounds after starting the ketogenic protocol, how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life like I did. And I will be dabbing my brow. It is warm and humid here. It's like 92% humidity, but I know this is nothing for what a lot of you are going through. So, good morning. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your day. And let's just jump right in, shall we? I will, for those of you who have not been here before, I want to let you know I'll talk about whatever the topic du jour is, a little quick 30-second break, and then turning my attention to y'all's comments and questions. And thank you, a new member of the club. Jennifer, thank you. New Baconator. There's a Go Keto with Casey. This kind of sounds weird. Club on YouTube. You can see the join button below. Okay. And I appreciate the support. First of all, to explain how the ketogenic protocol works as I learned it and as I have practiced it now for right at 9.5 years. Keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer a day, total carbs, not net. If it's not on page 4, link below. Don't eat it, but you don't even need a food list. It's fatty sources of protein, limited amounts of non-starchy vegetables, limited amounts of full-fat dairy, but you don't have to eat either vegetables or dairy. Just get in nice fatty sources of protein. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Far and away the hardest part, most challenging part for me, followed second by stop eating when you've had enough. And that's kind of going to be my topic today. Enjoy the feeling of satiety. And then I've added be patient and persevere. So why is my topic of the day foods I avoid? And I'm not talking about potato chips or tortilla chips or ice cream or pretzels. Yes, of course. I don't eat those. They're carbs. They're carby. There's no nutrition in them. None. There's no nutrition in them. If we fall all the way back to why we're supposed to be eating food, it's to fuel our cells with nutritious energy. Pretzels, not nutritious energy. Anyway, I'm talking about foods that are they're on page 4 if you're following page 4. I still need to avoid them. Why? It's not because of allergies or anything like that. Obviously, some people have allergies to certain foods. They, for religious reasons, avoid certain types of foods. I'm talking about perfectly normal food that I have to be careful or I have to totally avoid it because I will tend to struggle more than I want to with the 4th tenet of the protocol. Stop eating when you've had enough. What would an example of this be? Easy. Mashed cauliflower. Now, another thing here to keep in mind, let's look at mashed cauliflower. Let's look at cauliflower pizza crust. Oh, I can eat all this because it's cauliflower. No, vegetables, non-starchy vegetables are limited to about a cup a day maximum before they're cooked. So you're not going to get that much mashed cauliflower out of uncooked, before you cook it, 1 cup of cauliflower. You steam it or you whatever, and you boil it, whatever, and you mash it down, you end up with that much. Same thing with a pizza crust. By the time you process it and get it all made into a pizza crust, it's way more than it's way more. So, but mashed cauliflower, it's one of those things where when I have some, I want more. And then I want more. It's not spiking insulin. It's not doing anything. I'm pretty insulin resistant now. My IR score is very good. I know it's an emotional thing. Not sure where it comes from. 100% my mother never made or served mashed cauliflower. Mashed potatoes, well, not really mashed potatoes. They were out of a box, if you're familiar, the potato buds that were, dehydrated and mix them. Oh, so good. A lot of butter. So, but there were a lot of foods my mother served, but I don't have trouble resisting them. mashed cauliflower. I'll tell you another thing, almost anything that I prepare that is in casserole form. Even my delicious meatloaf, best meatloaf ever. I have some of it and I want more of it. So same thing with my taco bake. I don't think the meatloaf recipe is, I don't think I made a video about it, but it's on my blog. You can go to my blog, link below, caseydurango.com. But I think I made videos about other things, like the taco bake. I want more of it. I can make a chicken and broccoli cheese casserole. No, not really very many carbs, nothing like. I want more of it. So again, I think that is the emotional association. Doesn't mean that I can't resist it. I don't like using the word irresistible when it comes to food. That's being bandied about a lot. Obviously, we can resist it. It's not an uncontrollable impulse to not lift spoon to mouth. It is still a behavior that we have to get in front of. And that's kind of the point. I have to get in front of these. I've learned over the years. Is there another food? Well, there was a peanut butter incident in my house. And now peanuts are not on page 4. Peanuts are not nuts. Nuts are not on page 4. Peanuts are legumes, like pinto beans. But we had an issue where we were loading up some pest traps because we were overrun with chipmunks. And they were undermining our foundation of our house. So we got these very effective traps, and their little thing, and got a little tiny jar of the cheapest peanut butter possible in the store to load up the trap. And so my husband would load the traps up. He'd open the sliding door and grab, trap, fill up with peanut butter, put it out. And then when we needed to reload them because the traps were effective, he'd come in, grab the little thing, put a little. Well, this one day, he came in and half the jar was gone. And coincidentally, our daughter and granddaughter had been visiting from the West Coast. And they had been here, and they just left earlier that morning. And so he said, "What happened? Babe, what happened to the peanut butter?" So I'm like deer in the headlights, because I had eaten like 2 giant tablespoons of peanut butter, heaping. And I said, our granddaughter, I called her name. I said, our granddaughter loves peanut butter, which was truthful. What was factual. But I was not being truthful because she had not eaten it. I had. So yes, it's not on page 4 and I shouldn't be eating it. But so no peanut butter in the house, not even so-called, natural with the, I bet you guys have some foods like this that are perfectly allowable. Some people have a real thing like about cooked cabbage. And cooked cabbage is fine, but limited amounts. And once you get going, it's like you're eating sauerkraut. You want all the sauerkraut, or share with me what your things are. Learning to know what we need to just be prepared to not eat. And as the old saying goes, we don't drown because we can't swim. We drown because we panic. If we wait until we're standing in front of the casserole dish with a spoon in our hand, and we haven't prepared for the fact that, no, we have to just not eat we have to not eat more of this than we require. We have to stop eating when we've had enough. Then it's like panicking and you're going to drown. So we need to prepare. Either, there's a saying with certain things. I'm an abstainer, not a moderator. I know that I will have to fight with myself if I have mixed nuts. We have mixed nuts in the house because my husband has a different tolerance for calories and for carbs. He doesn't eat scads of them. He doesn't do what I used to do pre-keto, get the giant thing of mixed nuts from Costco and fill the entire lid and sit there working on the computer, eating, and then fill it up again. He doesn't do that. Measures out 1 3/4 ounces. That's him for the day. But I don't want to fight with my brain anymore about food. Chipmunk. Dadgummit. We are overrun with Well, we're not overrun with chipmunks. We are overrun with bunnies, which is okay. I don't mind the bunnies. They don't undermine our foundation. Sorry if that was really loud. I just see a chipmunk on the patio. So, just overall lesson. If we kind of really know that, I don't know, Friday nights are a vulnerable time because it's the end of the week, kind of tired, maybe go out, go to your local, and there's, you generally used to eat house fries with a pint. You can still go to your local and maybe not get a pint, or they're coming out with more and more lower carb beers. Maybe get a cocktail, but no house fries. Prepare yourself. I'm going to enjoy the evening even without eating house fries. Do it beforehand. There are certain states of mind that are just better if we prepare way in advance and tell ourselves out loud. Maybe you start on Tuesday. Okay, we're going out on Friday. I'm not going to eat the steak fries. I'm just not going to. You tell yourself that on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, and maybe you kind of ingrained it. That's just one example. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of another food let me see. Not pork rinds so much. Pork rinds for me are rather self-limiting, even the ones I really like the flavor. Recently, we're on a chile y limon flavor, but a few will do me. So don't worry about that too much. And again, talk about no nutrition. As opposed to a bag of chips, forget what the package says. For me, a serving size was the bag of chips, even if it was a big bag. I'm doing a mental thing through my pantry and oh, by the way, my pink drink. It looks different today. It's usually tall glass, full of ice, diet tonic water, splash of diet cranberry with a squeeze of lime. This has been the 6 weeks of appliance failure. About a month ago, our outside freezer went kaput. And so we got a new one. It's very nice. We're very happy with it. Everything's frozen. We had to haul all the stuff in there, and it took a few days to get it delivered and installed. And then yesterday, our big 25 cubic foot refrigerator and freezer went kaput. So we have no ice. So we have a cooler right there. You can see with some things, and we put things back in the freezer. So we've ordered a new fridge. Excited about it, but it won't be here until the end of the week. So anyway, it looks different because there's no ice. I won't complain. So many people have to go through so much worse. Know yourself. Know thyself. This is not a new thought. If you know that if you're in a group setting, it's challenging for you to pass on foods that everyone else is eating, be okay with passing on foods that everyone else is eating. Frankly, probably nobody cares or notices. If they do, it's okay, because if they notice that you just lost 15 pounds, they may not be ready to absorb your process yet, but they might. So be true to yourself and know yourself. Prepare in advance. If you're going on a trip and you know that, oh my God, traveling is difficult because we always stop at the pull off the highway and go to the restaurant, pack some foods. Oh, beef jerky. Look at this. I made 3 quarts of beef jerky. It's very difficult to tell. Dehydrated in our dehydrator. I actually filmed some footage of doing it. So it's 30 minutes of footage and photographs. So I don't have to edit it down. Some beef jerky. I like doing this because I can control the ingredients of the marinade. Boiled eggs, just don't eat them in a confined space. Beef sticks, string cheese. Prepare, and know yourself. I cook meatloaf, and I cook casseroles, and I make almond cookies for my husband. I just know, have a bit, not too much, and stop. And eat slowly. That's another good tip. The getting satisfied, that is eat slowly so your brain has a chance to get the signal from the leptin hormone, which is the satiety hormone. Now, You don't have to buy one thing to be 100% successful at the ketogenic protocol. By the way, I just saw something in my feed, and this is a legit thing. There's a family farm that is marketing low-carb potatoes, a bag of potatoes. They're not. Okay, so if it says keto on the or low carb on the label, be careful. You don't have to buy one thing, not a potion, not an electrolyte, not a supplement, not a kit, but you can buy this green book. It's a record book, and it's very good for fanning yourself when it's 89 degrees and 92% humidity. We don't have our air conditioner on yet. We're trying to push that. Or shirts. I'll sell you a shirt, a mug, a thing you can see linked below. This is just GKWC, Go Keto with Casey. Tank top. See below. Just trying to earn my keep, y'all. And I have a private support group on Patreon, link below. Some of the patrons are here. I have redone things a little bit, but for your pledge, you'll get 20 pre-recorded video snippets every weekday morning from me, topics usually suggested by patrons, and a handful of patron-only live streams on Crowdcast. And there's also a 7-day free trial, which Patreon started, and you can click on it. You can see 7-day free trial. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, no harm, no foul. So thank you to patrons. I appreciate it. Now, I'm going to turn my comments to you all, my attention to Kimmy. Mine is mascarpone, or better, what you can make out of it. Tiramisu. Can't stop eating it. Kimmy, I just adore you. And Kimmy, you can stop eating it. Obviously, if you couldn't stop eating it, there would be no tiramisu left in Germany because you will have eaten it all. You can stop eating it. But you're right. The best thing is don't start. We tell ourselves we can't stop. Let's not do that. Let's say we will stop because we clearly can. But I love my Kimmy. Kelly Hackle, what brand of tonic water do you use? Store brand. If it's Harris Teeter, I get that. If it's Great American or Great Value, whatever they call it, I get that. I actually prefer it to like the national brands. The other ones, I don't know. I don't like the flavor so much. Marina Murray, I'm carnivore and don't eat veggies or fruit. Good for you. Rose Haygood, I hear that rooster. We don't have a rooster. That's how loud that chicken is. We rehomed the rooster because we're allowed to have chickens, but not roosters within the city limits because of the noise factor. Yes, the chickens have gotten obnoxious. Doc Shungal, hello, Cheryl. Mary T, happy Canada Day. Love our neighbors to the north. And Jackie Starling, I watched your hard-boiled eggs video yesterday. It works great. This is the thing. Whether they're fresh eggs like from our backyard or from the store, it works very well. They peel beautifully every time. Cheryl Hayes, good morning. Hello, good morning, Cheryl. Kimmy Breda, love you too, Casey. Kimmy's in Germany. Happy Ferret, I love that handle. I have to be careful with bacon. The more I cook up, the more it tempts me to overeat it. Good point. Some people love cooking pound, 2 pounds at a time in the oven, and they're ready for the week. We don't do that, and I'll tell you why. Because we really just prefer freshly fried up bacon. And we do it. Yes. So that's, probably if I was served 5 slices of bacon, I would probably eat 5 slices of bacon. That's a good point. So remember, just because it's on page 4, allowable, or it's a fatty source of protein, doesn't mean it's unlimited. If you're done eating, if you're satiated, stop. Shayla Johnson, always have a can of sardines in my purse with a plastic spoon. That's the first I've heard of that, Shayla. Okay, I've never heard anyone say they walk around with an emergency tin of sardines and a spoon. I love it. Susan P., do you take any electrolytes? No, I do not. This is really kind of a marketing thing, and now the big manufacturers got into it. Our body is very good at regulating our electrolytes, our minerals. We can, we can lose them if you're in the high heat and you're sweating a lot and you're not drinking. You want to, drinking water, you want to be careful. But if you're sitting around the den watching Ted Lasso, you don't need electrolytes. Do what works for you, but I don't take them. I don't treat for symptoms I don't have. See, they're easy to package, they're easy to market, and they're not that expensive. So people feel like, oh, I'll just spend the $2.50 on a sleeve of sodium, essentially. And some other things are in there. Oh, Canada, writes MBGSTV. Rose Haygood, ditto on the freshly fried up bacon. And Marina Murray, happy ferret, eat it with the other meat to prevent overeating, as meat is very filling. NGBS TV, down south, you need them in the summer. Not everybody. No, not everybody. Our body really does regulate pretty well. And one of the best things is just make sure your sodium level is okay, because sodium regulates everything else. So don't cut back on sodium. If you don't have sodium sensitive hypertension, try to get about 5 grams of sodium a day, as opposed to the 2.5 grams per day recommended by every medical thing. I'm down south. I sweat. I work out in the garden. I come in. My husband worked on a roof yesterday. Roof. He doesn't take electrolytes. My husband gets on a bicycle and rides 25 miles in the heat. He likes the heat and he likes the hills. He's weird. He doesn't take electrolytes. Judy Porterfield. Good idea on the emergency sardines. Only I'd have to have spicy mustard. And Judy Porterfield, her predictive typing with the thing, she's a patron. And we have our private live streams. And one time someone had something they were celebrating. And Judy writes, sardines. Okay. Turns out her predictive had changed awesome to sardines. So now it's become a rallying cry. Judy Dulledge, I am always very low in salt. I do add it in everything. And remember, salt and sodium, not the same thing. Like table salt doesn't have as much sodium as some other. So be careful. Doc Shungal, I'm going to take sardines in my suitcase to Disney World. I want to make sure I'm not starving and only offering Dole Whip. Mary T, start with a big fat pork chop or a ribeye. It's easy to limit the veggies. Too full. Exactly. I eat very few vegetables. I don't eschew them. I like them. But I eat much less food than I used to. And I always start with the fatty source of protein. Marina Murray, I agree with you, Casey. I don't take any supplements, etc. We do take 3 Mag 64s every day, because even before keto, I was prone to muscle cramps. The year of the triathlons, bad. And so that's magnesium. But if you regulate your sodium, very often the magnesium will be adjusted. Sodium is the queen of the electrolytes. If you're flushing out because you're sweating, or you started the protocol and you're flushing out a lot of stuff through your kidneys, so goes the sodium. With the sodium goes magnesium, potassium, all that. Potassium deficiency, not common. And if you actually have a potassium deficiency, you need to have a doctor take care of that, because potassium, too much can be just as bad as too little. It can actually induce a heart attack. So we take that, but it's mostly for the muscle cramps, and we just do it. And then we take cod liver oil for the omega-3 and vitamins A and D. And we get Carlson cod liver oil. You can see it at my blog under my favorites, and my favorite things, teaspoon a day. Kelly Hackle, it is easy to do 20 carbs instead of, is it easy to do 20 total carbs instead of net carbs? I'm nervous. I'm new to this. Totally easy. Yes. Well, if you just lay off the carbs, if you're going to try to, for one thing, don't buy products that brag about their net carbs on the front of the package. Net carbs just means more carbs. Flip it around to the back of the package and look at the total carbs. Don't worry about subtracting out fiber or anything. Look at the total carbs per serving. See what a serving is. Yeah, it's easy. It's pretty easy if you eat fatty sources of protein and limited amounts of non-starchy vegetables and limited amounts of full-fat dairy. And don't go back and forth, I would recommend. I mean, you do what you want to do. But I just did a snippet about this, about people who say, I'm very strict 95% of the time, and it's not working. I said, well, how would it be if you were in a committed relationship and you said, my relationship is not working, and I am monogamous 95% of the time. So I don't understand it. Dr. Ngal, I can't remember the last time I wasn't in ketosis, but last night had one small baked pork chop out at a restaurant and 2 small bacon spears. This morning, 0.02 ketones and 102 glucose. Yeah. So it was maybe something that they did to the pork chop more than the broccoli, I'm going to guess. But who knows? Judy Porterfield, or maybe if that, if they kind of have it marinating so it'll be, even if it doesn't look like it's marinating, it's difficult to know when you're eating out. Judy Porterfield, yes, Dr. Ngal, love that idea. When I took salmon on a plane, I had fresh Alaskan home canned salmon to bring back home wrapped in towels. Dr. Ngal, just a reminder, eating out is not always a good idea. True, because they're trying to make things as flavorful, and very often sugary additives or wheat products are used, and let's face it, it's delicious. It's just not good for us. Glass jars, LOL, writes Judy Porterfield. Good. Glad it wasn't a salmon. Mary T, the net carb game is making people not succeed, and then they say keto doesn't work. We need to be honest with ourselves. Yes. Don't blame keto for what the net carbs did. Don't blame keto for what the cheat meal did. Don't blame keto for what the carb cycling advice did. Can you explain the keto numbers, asks Kelly Hackle. Okay. So there are ways to measure ketone bodies. These are bodies, these are the result of burning fat for fuel. When you reduce your carbohydrate intake sufficiently to the point where your liver is not pumping out glucose for fuel, glucose is sugar, our body will say, oh, glucose gone, let's tap into the reserves we already have in fat, body fat. And so we start burning body fat for fuel, or the fat that we take in by mouth, which is why you're not supposed to be pounding back MCT oil or oily coffee or all this stuff. Burning fat for fuel, you want to burn the body fat, not all the fat you're drinking. Anywho, so burning fat for fuel, there are 3 main byproducts of our bodies burning fat for fuel. Think of it like a campfire. You have a fire, and there are components from burning the wood. There's smoke, there's ash, and there's heat. Well, when you're burning fat for fuel, there are at least 3 main components: acetoacetate, beta-hydroxybutyrate, and acetone. Acetoacetate is shed through our urine. So you can get urine strips. They're perfectly legitimate. You use them and you'll get a reading. It's just a reagent strip, and it has color thing. As long as you're not neutral, you're burning fat for fuel. Beta-hydroxybutyrate is measured through blood. I use the Keto Mojo. I used the Precision Extra for a long time, but I prefer the Keto Mojo. If you go to my blog, you can see it on my sidebar. If you want to get it, you get a little discount and I get a little taste. But that measures, you get ketone strips and glucose strips. That is the gold standard these days for measuring for ketosis. Acetone is measured through the blood. Not as accurate. They're trying, it's just not that. Frankly, it's a breathalyzer. That's what they're testing for on roadside breathalyzers, is acetone. But the numbers are not that important. 0.2 is kind of low from a girl, Cheryl. That's on beta-hydroxybutyrate, on the ketone, the blood ketone. But it's like a pregnancy test. You either are or you aren't. You're either burning fat for fuel or you aren't. Someone will come up with a nice blood test or a urine test that is just like a pregnancy test. Yes or no. so we don't have to become verklempt about the numbers. But that's what that is. Thank you for the question, Kelly. All right, I'm going to start to wind down. Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of your day. Oh, thumbs up. Thank you. I forgot. Thank you for the people who joined the club. If you could give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, it apparently helps and it doesn't cost anything. So I really appreciate it. I forget to ask for it. Sounds kind of tacky, but I appreciate it. And I did see the hearts going up. Kimmy writes, by the way, I started my pearls string again. 20 pearls are on it now. I'm so pleased, Kimmy. I'm very proud of you. And look, today's Saturday. Did things start to feel better starting with Thursday? That's an inside thing. Judy Porterfield, have a great holiday weekend, Casey, and happy 4th. And if you're not in the U.S., happy 4th anyway. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye. I'll see you next time. And stay cool. Oh, so hot.